Hello all. In this session we are going to explore more about the functions. So in the last video we have discussed about the basic functions, how to define a function, how to use the function, that is how to call a function, and what are the different types of arguments we can pass, right? So for example, positional argument and the keyword argument, and we also have understood how to use how to collect multiple arguments together, right, for using star args and star kw args. Correct. So let's move on to a couple of examples, and then I will jump on to important topic called lambda functions. Okay. So before I move on, let me help you remind you few of the things, and for that I will just take a take a function. I want to write a function to to find a factorial. Okay, so I hope you recall, suppose the number is passed here, and now if you want to write a code to find out a factorial, I hope you can do that. This is a quite a simple calculation, simple mathematical calculations we can do to find out the factorial of a number. So obviously we can use directly a built-in method, that is math and math dot factorial. You can very well find out the factorial of any number we can provide. So I want to implement this function now, okay, manually. I don't want to use maths function. Instead I want to write my own function, so that I should get the factorial of whatever number we are passing is the outcome. Okay, so something like that. Okay, for example, if I write 6 and 7 20, if I run this factorial of 6, so output should look like this, right? But obviously this is not the way we have hard coded this 6 and 720, right? So now I want to write a function here. Inside this function I want to write a code which will calculate the factorial of a number, right? And whatever number is provided, that number should be calculated, right? So for example, I want to write here, and here I want to write something called fact, suppose, right? Fact is going to be a keyword, a simple or a variable here we are going to use. And now we can write a simple loop. I hope you recall when we discussed about for loop and while loop, we have calculated factorial. Okay, suppose for I in range of the number, right? So number is n plus 1 up to n plus 1, and I want to start from n 1, right? So that's why if I run through this, and if I want to calculate a factorial, okay, equal to I, right? Because I is now going to move from 1 to the n value, right? So every time I want to just multiply with all the numbers, and that's what the factorial means, right? And then once I get this, okay, and now I run. So here the values are not hard coded, okay, and now your factorial is working for your 6, right? Now if you put 8, right, and your factorial is calculated properly, right? If you put 7, right, it is calculated. If you put 2, and obviously it is 2 factorial is 2, 3's factorial is 3, and so on and so forth, right? Suppose if I write 300, huge number, right, isn't it? So that's the power, guys, right? This is really huge, and someone can easily work out such a huge computation in Python. And we will see that even if I add 1 to this number, so it is getting added to the number, right? So that's the good part. So the bottom line here, what I'm trying to say is, now we got a function which does calculations and calculate the factorial. So I don't have to import anymore now. Okay, and in fact I can customize this. I can think about using the way whatever options I want to provide. I want to provide a text here. I want to probably return the factorial. Okay, return fact. Okay, I can also return, right? So let me check what happened, why I'm getting 2 times the fact. And yeah, because we are returning, and we have to save somewhere in the result, right? So the ret is also having the same number. Okay, So this is how we can work with. We can work on getting the factorial. For now, I can probably comment out because we are not interested in returning something. Okay, and this time if I run, rate is not printing anything, right? Because by default function returns nothing. That means by default function returns none. Okay, so this is the simple example which explains how we can use a function. Okay, so similar example, I want you guys to right now practice something called you find a prime number. Okay, I hope those who have already done in when we have discussed about for loop, you guys can just pull the same code and put into a function and try to find out. Okay, so pause the video here and please solve this quick example, right? Quick simple exercise problem. Okay, where you should get the number from the user and you should check if the number is prime or not a prime. Okay, simple exercise, you can do it. Now whoever have done, please check with the solution which I am trying now on the screen. So define, let's say I will use just a prime here, right? Prime, and I pass some number. Okay, and now I want to see if the number is prime or not, right? So first of all, what is prime number? Okay, we have to think about that. So what is prime number? How prime number works, right? The prime number is a number which is divisible by 1 or itself, right? None of the other number between the 1 and the actual number, it should not be divisible. Okay, so suppose for I in range, and let's say I want to start from 2 now, because I have already I know that it is divisible by 2, divisible by 1. Okay, so I don't want to check whether it is divisible by 1 or not, because it is divisible, because every number is divisible by 1, and this number, that n, should not be divisible by any other number than 1 and n itself. Okay, so that's why I run from from 2 and I go up to which number I should go up to? N, right? So that's how I can go and I can try find the sequence there, and once I find this, let me also try and get one more a loop here for j in range, because I want to iterate over each of the numbers, because okay, actually this function is probably I'm trying to do probably I want to get all the numbers in the prime, okay, whether they are okay. I think I don't need this for loop here. Okay, now if I only check, if I check if the number that is n, if it is divisible by I or not. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, I was here, right? So I'm checking if n is divisible by I means that is 2, then 3, then 4, and then 4, 5, and so on and so forth, right? So ideally the number should not be divisible by any of the number in this particular loop. Okay, so the moment I find this divisible, I will just take a flag and make it true. Okay, so let me just use this. Flag means just a variable name, and I keep it false initially, and the moment I find anything is divisible by any number out of the n is divisible by any number in this particular range, then I make this flag as true. So that indicates that if it is true means the number is divisible by, that means number is not a prime number, right? Here I will just check if flag, and I will simply print not a prime. Okay, and else I will simply say that it's a prime number. Okay, so simple calculation. Let me check how it works, whether it works. So suppose 13 is a prime number, right? So yeah, it says prime. And how about 12? Yeah, it's not a prime, right? So this one, this is not a prime. Okay, so this is also not a prime, right? So maybe you can think about finding some prime number. Yes, 17 is a prime number, 23 is a prime number, but yeah, 24 is not a 22 is not a prime number, and so on, right? So this is a simple exercise. So similarly, we can write a function and we can keep on using this particular function forever, right? So yeah, so that's how we can use we can write our functions, small functions, and we can return some values out of the function. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic where I was talking about the lambda function. Before that, let me also tell you one more feature of functions in Python, that is a function can be returned, or function can be assigned as a variable. Okay, so what I mean is, suppose I have defined a function, okay, and suppose this function takes two values, a and b. Okay, here z equal to a plus b, and if I return z, so that's a basic simple calculations, right? So now if I do this, I get the addition. Okay, however, we are calling the function like this, and suppose if I assign this value, this function, to k. Now look at this. Remember, I'm not using open and close bracket and the argument list, because I'm not actually interested in the return, but I'm interested in the function object itself. Okay, so this is how we can access or we can assign a function as an argument. And look at this, if I do k2 comma 4, the addition happens. That means now k is also referring to the same functionality, right? Because func is the name of a function, that is a reference to a function. We are assigning it to k, and k is now become also a reference of a function. So I can access. So that is how we can pass, or we can assign a function to another variable. Okay, so functions can be assigned to a variable, in short. Okay, so if that is the case, we can also let me just type one more function here, and let me return f2 comma 4 plus c. Okay, I'm just writing one simple but yes, little different functionality here. Now let's say func2 I call, and here if I pass suppose the first argument as k. Now look at, remember, k is not a normal integer, it is a function, right? So I have to pass suppose I pass k here, and then 5, that is a c value, right? And look at the magic, right? The magic happened here. So k is passed, k is nothing but a function. So k, the f is your function now, and f you are calling with two arguments, that is 2 and 4. So the moment you do that, this particular piece of code, the selected on the screen, goes and call to func function here. So inside func, it will add 2 plus 4, that is 6, and 6 will be returned. The moment it returns 6, the outcome of this whole thing is a 6, then plus I am adding c. C is nothing but your 5, which is passed here, right? So you can pass c as a simple argument, the second argument, and you add this to the outcome what you receive from a f call. F is nothing but your func. Okay, and that is k as well, right? So that is how the func2 is now returning 11. So that means this behavior, this characteristic is called passing a function as an argument to another function, right? So we can pass a function as a parameter, in short, right? So we can pass a function as a parameter. We can pass a function as a parameter to a function, to another function, obviously, right? So this is how one can write, and we can access the function. We can pass the function as argument. So that is called first class citizen, right? So the function which can be passed as argument, which can be returned as a argument as well. So what I mean is, suppose I write definition, let's say outer function, okay, and here suppose I equal to 10, then I write one more function, that is inner function, okay, and here suppose I am inner function, okay, and here I just return inner, okay, and now while returning I am not actually returning the function call, right? I'm returning the function object. That means the function object which refers to the function body, which has just one statement here. So this is what I mean by saying the function can be returned, right? A function can be returned from other function. So let's see how it works. Let's say I call outer, nothing happens, right? Because what it returns is is another function, right? Let's say p equal to I assign, right? And if I call p, now I am inner function. So that is the inner function we are now executing outside the outer function. Okay, and obviously I don't have to tell you guys, but yes, inner function can be executed within the function outer function, right? Because this is a local function now inside the outer function. Okay, so we can do that, but at the same time we can return the function object and store it, and now whenever I want to call that function, we can simply make a call using the variable in which we are saving the return value of a function, that is outer function. Okay, so this forms a closure. So closure is another concept in Python. So closure means it remembers the state of the function and the variables which forms the closure, right? That means the inner function now remembers the value of I even if you are not inside the outer function, because you are now returning inner, and inner is stored in p. Now p remembers the function local members or local data inside outer function if it is used inside a inner function. So that concept is called closure. So we are not going to discuss or take a deep dive because this course is specifically designed for making sure that you learn everything which we need to learn for data science projects, right? So we will go and deep dive. If you are getting more interest, try check what is closure and what is decorators, but we are now okay as of now till the till now for the functions, the basic functions, basic attributes, what functions is, how to use functions, and so on. So here we have seen how we can pass one argument to another argument, right? So one function to another another variable. So similarly there is something called a lambda function. Okay, lambda is a keyword. Let's say k equal to lambda. Okay, lambda is a keyword which can be used to create a lambda function, and here we can give, let's say, list of values. Okay, that is called arguments, right? So those are the arguments we can provide, x comma y. So those are the arguments, and suppose if I want to return the addition of these two values, so I can just write the one statement inside lambda and I'm done. Let's say now k 3 comma 4, it works. If I say k 56 comma 88, it works. So the addition is working. So this is as simple as add function. Let's say I write something like this. Okay, so this is how we write add function. So if I add this 3 comma 4, or if I say x equal to add and x of 5 comma 6 and so on, right? So this is what the basic things we have been looking at. So I think we already are comfortable with this line number 156, 155 and 154. Okay, if this is clear, these three lines are clear, then let's have a look at this once again. Okay, now remember, this whole thing is as good as just to add here. Okay, whatever add does, this is what exactly it is doing, right? So the return of this lambda x comma y colon x plus y, that is the return value from the function. So whole thing, that is selected part on the screen, is called the anonymous function. Okay, so the lambda function is a small and anonymous function, can be passed as arguments where we need a function, right? So mostly whenever we want to pass a function as an argument, we can use this lambda function and we can execute that. Okay, so for example, here in this case, now k is nothing but a lambda function because k is of type function, right? So I think we have already seen this here as well. X is of type Let me insert a cell here and check the type of x, and x is of type function, because now we are assigning a function object to x is a variable. Similarly, k is just a variable, but whatever we get as a return out of this lambda x comma y colon x plus y, so this is nothing but of type function, right? And we are assigning that so that I don't have to really make or remember this kind of syntax. So I can simply refer x, so k, and we can start accessing. So what is that we are achieving then? Why we are doing this? Because when I can do add, okay, I'm done, I'm good, right? So we don't have to really go and do something more, right? Why to get this another complex thing here, right? So let me tell you the reason, right? The reason behind this is a simple and anonymous as one-liner function. So I don't have to maintain the function somewhere, right? So sometimes I may not be interested in reusability. Okay, sometimes there are some built-in functions like map. Okay, map is a function which works on some iterables, and let's say I will take one simple example and explain you how map works. Okay, let's say square and comma, and suppose I use a list here, right? So let me do this on the second line and help you understand what square is. Okay, and returning, it returns x to the power 2. Okay, that's a simple function. Whatever you pass, it just squares and return it. Okay, and map function we can use, oh sorry, the spelling mistake here, so square, right? So map function works on a concept called it is like a functional style of coding, okay, where we can pass a function as an argument inside a map. Okay, map takes first argument as a function. Okay, in these scenarios I don't have to define a function and use here, when sometimes it could be a single liner, right? So here now instead of cell number 162 and 164, one can write lambda x and x to the power 2. So the line number 165 is exactly same what line number 162 and 164 is doing together. Okay, such a small stuff one can write using a lambda function. Lambda function is anonymous, and lambda function can hold only one, that is a single expression. Let's say lambda x comma y, and suppose I want to return let's say x minus y if x is greater than y, else y minus x. Okay, so look at this, this is again another simple function, but here it is doing a subtraction, let's say 56 comma 34, right? So which are the values you pass, it is doing the absolute subtraction, right? So this kind of functionality which is handy, quick, and easily readable, so we can use lambda function, but no mandate. You can do whatever you can do using lambda function, using a normal function like we have done here, square. So you can definitely do this. Okay, but many times such a small functions we really don't have to write it using a def keyword, but instead you can simply type it, okay, or write it using lambda. Lambda is a one-liner anonymous function. Okay, so yeah, that's all about the lambda functions. We will be using lambda functions going forward, and in the next session I'll be discussing about map and reduce functionalities. In that session as well I'll take a couple of examples about lambda. So I hope you understand. Thank you for watching.